Hello and thanks for watching Best Maths Tutors. We continue with our series on GCSE Maths algebra, and we're going to be covering multiplying out double brackets. So as ever, we're going to be starting with simple examples and working our way up to more difficult ones. And what we recommend you do is try and do the questions yourselves first of all, and then you can check the answers with the ones that I've done. So the first one we've got here is where we're trying to multiply out one bracket, which is x plus 2, by a second bracket, which is x plus 3. And when we put two brackets next to each other like this, it actually means multiply. So we're saying the first bracket multiplying the second bracket. And there's a system that I use for making sure we've multiplied everything out in the two brackets. And what that is, it's called FOIL. And each one of these letters stands for something. So the F stands for first. And what that means is we multiply the first part of each bracket together. So we go x times x, so they're the first terms in each bracket. And so if we do that, we get x squared. X times x gives us x squared. Then we multiply, O stands for the outside terms. So we multiply the outside terms, which is that one and the 3, so the two end terms. So x times 3. So we get 3x. Then the I stands for the inside terms. So the inside terms are the 2 and the x. So 2 times x gives us 2x. And then finally the L stands for the last terms. So we multiply the 2 and the 3 together, and we get 2 times 3 is 6. And having done that, what we get is we've got to simplify it next. So we can see that we've got a 3x and a 2x. So those middle terms usually need adding or taking away from each other to simplify. So we can say that becomes x squared, and then plus 3x and 2x make 5x, and that's plus 6. So that's that first one done. We can also see sometimes people call this the claw method, because we can see that if we draw these lines, it looks a little bit like a claw. So that's another way. If you draw the lines between each of the terms and it looks a bit like a claw, you've probably done it correctly. So if we're looking at the next one, we're doing a slightly more difficult one now. So it's more difficult because we've got minus signs in there. So as before, we're going to do the first terms. So that's the x times the x, and that's going to give us x squared. Then we're going to do the outside terms, and so we've got an x times by a negative 2. So a positive times by a negative will give us a negative. So x times negative 2 will give us minus 2x. Then we do the inside terms, so that's 4 times the x, and that will give us plus 4x. And finally we do the last terms, which is those two. So we've got positive 4 times negative 2, so 4 times 2 will give us 8, and the overall sign positive times negative is negative. So we can just tidy up the middle part here, so this bit will simplify in the middle, and we get x squared plus 2x minus 8. You can think about this middle term here. If we had a number line, there's 0, we're at minus 2 with minus 2x, and if we go up by 4, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would take us to positive 2. So on this next one that I've changed the letter from an X to an A, but that doesn't actually make any difference in the way that we do it. And we'll also notice that we've got two negative signs there. So we're going to again do the first terms. So we've got A times A, and A times A will give us A squared, because if you multiply something by itself, you get the squared term. Then we do the outsides. So we've got A times negative 6, and that will give us a negative, because the A is positive and the 6 is negative. So overall that gives us a minus sign. So so it's minus 6a. Then we do the inside terms, and we've got minus 3 times positive a, so that will give us minus 3a. And then we do the last terms, so we've got minus 3 times minus 6. So again, looking at what we get with different signs, a positive times positive gives us a positive. Positive times a negative gives us a negative. A negative times a positive gives us a negative. And a negative times a negative actually gives us a positive. So if we look at this minus 3 times minus 6, then minus and minus make plus, and then we've got 3 times 6 is 18. So all we need to do on this one then is try and simplify the middle terms again. So we end up with a squared, and negative 6 take away 3 goes to minus 9. So we end up with minus 9a plus 18. And again, this is directed numbers for that middle term there, the minus 9, because if that's 0 and that was minus 6, if we took away 3 from that minus 6, we actually end up at minus 9. So we were going further down by 3. So that's number 3 done. And we're looking at some slightly more difficult ones now. So you can see we've got, instead of just x on its own in each one, we've actually got a number multiplying it, so 3x and 4x. So if we do the first terms again, so always following this FOIL idea. So we can do 3x times 4x. So we multiply the number parts together and we get 12. 3 times 4 is 12. And x times x will give us x squared. So that's 12x squared. Then we have to do 3x times 5. So we've just done the first terms. We're now going to do the outside. So the outside terms is 3x times 5. So 3 lots of 5 is 15. And then the x. Now we're going to do the inside. So we've got 2 times 4x. So that's going to give us 8x. And then we're going to do the last terms. So the last terms is 2 times 5, and that gives us 10. So if we just tidy this up now, all we need to do is collect the like terms in the middle, simplify those. So we've got the 12x squared that we had already. 15x plus 8x gives us 23x. And then that's plus the 10 at the end. So that's that one finished. And so finally we've got one where we've got numbers in front of the letters, and also there's minus signs involved. So again, we're going to use FOIL as ever. So we're going to go 7y times 5y. So if we do the numbers together, 7 times 5 is 35. And then we've got y times y is y squared. And now what we're going to do is the outside terms. We're going to do that one. So that's this here, 7y times negative 6. So if we do 7 times 6, that gives us 42. But it's a minus there, so that's going to be minus 42. And then we've just got the y. So that's minus 42y. Now we're going to do the inside terms. So we're going to do minus 2 times 5. So we're going to end up with negative 10y. And finally, we're going to do the last terms. So we're going to do minus 2 times minus 6. And so 2 times 6 is 12. And overall, we've got a negative times a negative will give us a positive. And all we need to do next is just tidy this up by simplifying the middle terms here. So we've got 35y squared, and then if we've got minus 42 and we take away a further 10 from it, that gives us minus 52. So it's minus 52y, and then plus 12. And we've finished. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and if it has, please consider subscribing to our channel and giving our video a thumbs up, and watching all the rest of the videos on our series on algebra. Thanks for watching.